minutes and welcome.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair, for allowing me to wave on. I know we all have a good number of questions. There really isn't a bigger issue for many families than this one for us to resolve. And as you know, for me as the former chairman of the Oversight Subcommittee, and you now as the current chair, but we've learned from a lot of masters that have gone before us. And this subcommittee has been very important to investigate over the years what goes wrong, identify it, and then come back with legislation to fix it so it does not happen again. I'm actually in Sturgis, Michigan right now. I spent much of the morning here for a couple hours. I was actually at the closed Sturgis Abbott facility talking with the vice president of nutrition supply chain and a number of employees that have been there, actually some that had been there for generations of families working there, some for as long as 40 years at that facility, tallest facility in St. Joe County. And I've been there a number of times over the last number of years. A couple questions, but because I've been unable to hear the witness's testimony or really have listened to some of the answers to the many questions that were been posed by both sides of the aisle on this very important topic. I will say this, and I appreciate Dr. Califf's input. He's a recent leader, of course, at the FDA, just recently being confirmed by the Senate. I know, as I understand it, you responded to our colleague Billy Long, saying that you thought on a scale of 1 to 10, your performance you thought was about a 4. You and I talked a couple weeks ago as this facility remains closed. And one of the things that you told me was that, frankly, the FDA needs more resources to make sure that these food safety operations are safe. When Chair DeGette and I worked on 21st Century Cures, we gave the FDA a lot more responsibility. If we were going to approve these drugs and devices on an expedited basis, the FDA needed more resources, and we did that. Last week, of course, the House passed $28 million in additional resources for the FDA. I would imagine that the Senate may take that up at some point soon, whether it be this week or the first week that we're back. And my question, Dr. Califf, is if that money is approved, ultimately signed by the president, can you tell us how you're going to use that $28 million?
First of all, we really appreciate what the House has done. Also appreciate what the two of you did and your colleagues for 21st Century Cures. It has made a dramatic difference on the medical product side. On the $28 million, it's obvious from all the discussions that we've had that we need more people who can assure the quality of the imported infant formula, who can review the applications and get them done, and inspectors to investigators to assess and do the testing that's needed to make sure that this surge in infant formula that's going to occur happens in a safe way. Now, as we said before, we'll scrape together and do it somehow without the money, but something else will really suffer, and we need the dedicated funding to really make this happen. We've also talked about the information technology. The money allocated is a drop in the bucket compared to the ultimate need, as you know, but it will at least allow us to patch it together to get the job done acutely.
You know, as I sat down with a number of the management levels at Abbott this morning, I'd like to share this with my colleagues. It does appear as though, well, first of all, it's been, of course, shut down since February. They've made massive changes inside the facility in a number of different ways. They've shared that, of course, with the FDA, but they also have a third-party group to, in essence, certify that they're going to comply with the demands that the FDA has made, and they intend to have the facility, as you indicated, I think to Congressman, our colleague O'Halloran, that it will be up June 4th. But if they don't meet the test, it will be later than that. They're gonna make sure that they're 100% before that plant is open. And their sense is that they will, if they do start on the 4th, they will be able to have product, and they're going to prioritize the product so that it is the folks with the biggest need. They're working very closely with the FDA and the White House to make sure that some of those allergens are taken care of. But they intend to see that supply chain be fully committed and on the shelf as early as the end of June, probably the 20th or 22nd of June, assuming that they start on the 4th. So again, be glad to share I guess, last quick question, Dr. Califf, would you be willing to come back once this plant is up and running? Would you be willing to come back and actually walk the floor with me to make sure that, in fact, it meets the test that all of us want to see it make?
Absolutely. I love to visit facilities and would be glad to make a home and home visit with you. I mean, it's a great thing about America that the way it works is you're there on the spot. This is your district. And the fact that you can be there in person, I think, is a really critical part of the overall effort.
Well,
Thank you. Dr.